What's up, everybody? I am Finn Mckenty. This is Tony Cappocchi.
You said it so phonetic.
Tony Cappocchi.
Cappocchi, yeah.
Cappocchi. So for anybody who doesn't know, Tony is a friend of mine who does a bunch of cool stuff. One of the things he does, so you, well, first of all, let's plug your band. So,
oh, yeah.
Dragged Under is your new
yeah.
band with our mutual friend Fluff. So
Correct.
If you want to check that out, you should. The other thing he does, which is what we are here to talk about today, is he sells YouTube ads, YouTube sponsorships. So when somebody like me says, and this video is brought to you by Skillshare or Current or Dollar Shave Club or whoever else, he's the guy that makes it happen. So what I wanted to do in this video was kind of just unpack that whole process, because we've all seen that. And I don't know about you, but I always had questions about how that happens. So we want to explain to you how that happens, like the sales process, what that looks like for a creator, what it looks like for the brand, and, you know, kind of touch on some of those topics that have come up a lot in the comments. So why don't we just start with, I've got some notes here. Why don't we start with just, if you want to quickly introduce yourself beyond what I just said, anything I left out?
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to it. What I do is pretty self-explanatory, but I started this by managing one creator. I was working with Jared Dines. He was, at the time I met him, he was in my other band, my last band, and I lost my job with a software company called Positive Grid, and he was just like, well, why don't you just come work for me? I need a manager. And so I took him up on it, and I told him this is how much I was getting at Positive Grid, and for the first 2 months, he paid me half of that. And basically we did like a trial, kind of like, let's see if there's value for you and me. If this works out, we'll put you back up to what you were making or what you need to make to survive, and we'll call it official. And we went from there. And he was having me run his ad deals. So he'd bring something to me and say, okay, cool, this company wants to do something. I'm
So they were reaching out to him directly before.
Yeah, and then that's how it is for a lot of creators. Until you get an agent who does that work for you, which is what I do now. I do probably 70% of my volume for jobs starts because of outreach. Whereas,
so really quickly, who else do you work with aside from me and
man.
Fluff and Jared?
10-second songs, Stevie T. Man, there's a lot, dude. I work with like Nick Nocturnal and Andrew Baina. I do stuff with Davey 504. I am working on a job with Pellic right now. I'm working on a job with Rumi. I've worked on stuff with Pellic. Christina Schiano, Cole Rowland, Glenn Fricker, Produce Like a Pro, which is Warren Hoover.
Yeah.
So
it's a lot of the bigger people in kind of the music space, basically.
Yeah, and that happens just because you work with one person and they say, hey, where'd you get that ad? Oh, my agent got it. Or, hey, how are you getting deals? Or, how can I make more money? Oh, talk to my agent. He can get you some more. He can get you brand deals. So with Jared, he was taking jobs, and a company would come to him and say, yeah, our budget's $2,000 for a minute or 2 minutes or a dedicated video. And whatever it was, for some reason or another, he just decided either I don't want to do it, I'm too busy to do it, or it's not enough money, or whatever. Any reason to not take a job, it's his business. So my job was, at that time, what do I do with this money? Because now I have money on the table. And I was just like, this is $2,000 that could go to a creator who wants it, who needs it to stay afloat this month, to keep creating videos, and their fan base is depending on them to continue to create, and I'm just leaving it on the table. So that's how I started my business. So
you go, hey, there's this brand deal on the table, do you want it?
Yeah, supply and demand, right? Like your basic economic principles of me having an opportunity to give to somebody, and I just needed to find someone to give it to.
Right.
So once that started happening, and I opened that door to the next creator and said, hey, so-and-so, you want this job? Yeah, great. Okay, cool. You mind if I throw you on my list of creators? So that way when somebody comes to me and says, hey, we want to buy a job, and I say, well, I have these 2 creators, I have these 4 creators, and now I have a list of 30 or 40 creators that I work with that I can position jobs against at one time.
And you grew that list pretty quickly, right? I mean, not too long ago, you were working with like a handful of people.
Yeah, I think last year, at the start of this year, I think I had like 10. And I'm up to 40 now, I think, almost. And the list changes all the time, right? Because it's just like any job. If I'm your agent, I need you to be reliable. I need you to be receptive. You don't have to take every job I bring you. I respect a lot when people say that's not me, especially because it's good money. If they say, hey, it's not on brand, or it feels like something my base wouldn't resonate with, or they would just, they crucify me over.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the process then for anybody who, I guess most people haven't seen it. So the way it works, is that I get an email or a text from you that says, hey, company X wants to do a live or do a read. It's X number of dollars.
Right.
They need it done by this date. Do you want to do it?
Yeah.
And then I always say yes. Because,
so far, yeah.
Because that's how I roll. But you know, some people might pass on it for whatever reason, but that's how it works. And then if I say no, you're like, all right, well, go down the list until I find somebody that.
That's kind of how it used to work. Was it would kind of be a pecking order, right? And it would just kind of like roll down the hill until it hit somebody who went, yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah.
It's a little different now because I have the breadth of talent that I have, and because of the quality of brands that I'm working with. They typically have a budget to spend more than just one video at a time. A lot of times they'll hit me up. It happens a ton of ways, which is why you have to.
So they'll say, we want to do a whole campaign. Our budget is this.
Sure. Sometimes
and you'll come back to them with a proposal about how it would roll out to different channels.
Yes, or sometimes it is they just want one person to say, oh, because the email will start, hey, hello, Jared Dines, and they don't, you know, I'm obviously not Jared, but I field his emails because my email's on his YouTube account. So they're emailing Jared, they're emailing me, but they're addressing it to somebody. So I know, okay, this was for so-and-so, but I see their budget, or they want to do something for trade or something, and I know it's not going to fit for him. It's not going to be enough, or it's not something he would take on right now with how busy he is. So then I can tell them right away, hey, that's not going to work for us, but then I position the list of creators against that and say, here's 15, 16, whatever people that I work with that will accept your budget specifically, and I tailor the list to what they're asking for.
So how do you get paid? Do you get paid a salary? Do you get a percentage, or how does that work?
So Jared actually pays me a salary plus commission because I'm at his space 3 days a week.
Commission meaning?
So the way that I earn is off of, we earn together, right? So that's the best part about being an agent is I only eat when you eat, and I love that because it keeps me hungry and it keeps you wanting to earn. And you know that I'm providing an inherent value for these creators because I say, hey, look, here's a job for $2,000, and I take a percentage off the top of that. Typically, it's anywhere from 10 to 20%. So if I bring a job to you, you know, when you collect the money for that, 20% of that you need to cut and write a check, right, to me for my services rendered. And it really is a beautiful symbiosis because I don't ever feel like I'm taking money from somebody for not doing something.
Right. And
that is the worst feeling ever. And I've had relationships like that with people where they've wanted to put me on just a retainer, or they want to do like that plus commission, and I'm just like, look, I like commission because that means our incentives are aligned, which is totally.
I want you to like as aggressively sell, like I want you to sell as aggressively as possible for me because you know that your paycheck is going to grow then, and then mine will grow too, as opposed to if you're getting paid a flat fee, then why would you push yourself to do more?
Totally. And
it's just human nature.
It's also just for transparency's sake. If I come to you with a job, you know that it's like, this is what I'm earning.
Right.
There's no way for me, because a lot of the times you get the money. I don't get the money. A lot of that has to do with the fact that I haven't set up my corporate account. But that's like another story. Eventually I'll do that because it'll be easier for tax purposes. But for now, for transparency's sake, the best thing that I like about the way I do business is you get the money. They send you the money, and you can bet they're not going to send two separate things. They're not going to be like, all right, well, Tony needs, he said send him 400 and then send Finn something else.
Well, you hear all these horror stories, like what was the MCN that went under recently? And
Defy Media.
Yeah, and like Matt Pat made that video about how they owed him $400,000 or whatever it was because they were getting the money, and then they would pay him his share as opposed. And so he was like, well, fuck that, I'm never doing that again. All the money's going to go to me, whether he did that or not, I don't know. But that's kind of my point is that that's why this arrangement for creators is really attractive because I don't ever have to worry that you're going to skip town and take my money. You got to worry about me skipping town and taking your money.
And that's happened. You know, I've had that. Unfortunately, I've learned that lesson the hard way, and it hasn't really turned me off to it. You know, like I lost a couple $1,000s on that deal, and the person is now working to pay that off. But for a while there, I was just like, I'm never going to see that money, and I had to literally wash my hands of the situation and just move forward. So sometimes I have that feeling that creators have typically, which is, I don't know this dude. Right. And this is a big hit for me to take if this doesn't work out my way. So there are certain people like with you, I don't need to worry about that. I know you, I know where you live, and we have a relationship where if I pay you, I know you're going to give me what's owed, and vice versa. So, well,
let's talk on that note. Let's talk a little bit about sales and relationships, because fundamentally what you do is sales.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's an agent or manager or whatever word you want to use, but it's fundamentally sales. And to me, I'd be curious to hear what you think. To me, the essence of sales is relationships and trust.
100%.
And if there was somebody, the reason why I wanted to work with you is because we have a bunch of mutual friends. We live close to each other, so I'm inclined to trust you. If I got a blind email from somebody that I'd never heard of that just says, I'm so-and-so, I live in, Teaneck, New Jersey.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they're lying, but I don't know you. We don't have any friends in common. I would be much less likely to trust that person.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about sales then, because I think a lot of people watching this are gonna say, well, that sounds cool. I would love to have somebody like you, representing me, or maybe they're saying, wow, that sounds like a cool job. I would like to do that. How do you approach sales with somebody, let's say it's a cold call, a company that you want to work with that you've never heard of, or a creator that you've never heard of, or you don't know but you want to work with? How would you approach that kind of a situation?
Those conversations are very different, right? When it's a brand, the first thing that I like to do, I have to have a reason to assume that brand will do business. And for some of the brands like Dollar Shave Club, it's obvious, right? Their ads are everywhere. They're in Joe Rogan podcast and Philly D, and every brand they're sponsoring. And those people are running ads daily. So I know that they have the pockets to subsidize.
If they're running ads on Rogan, they're spending a lot of money.
Totally, yeah. And that's another thing is I always look for bigger channels. Like I always watch the channels with 5, 10, 20 million plus subscribers, because I know, okay, that brand's willing to spend the money and they're willing to take the chance on this not working out, because that's the name of the game. Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
But with the approach towards brands, that's how I always say is, hey, my name is Tony. I saw your ad on blank. So it pre-qualifies the conversation for me to say, I know you're spending money on ads. I know you're doing it on YouTube. And I know I have a lot of people that you haven't worked with that have a really, really great following and can get your brand out there. So it's a little bit of a different approach where I'm pre-qualifying the conversation by saying, look, I know you do this. I know you have money to spend. I know you want to spend it with great creators, and I have that. And then we talk numbers and CPMs and all the boring stuff about why our price is good for whatever they need, right? Or why our audience is good. And I have all the numbers to back that up. I keep a Dropbox file of every creator's age, location, and gender of their audience, so that I can directly say, hey, here's everybody who fits that 18 to 35 male, demographic that you need for your product. So with businesses, they want to see numbers. They want to see results. They want to be very analytical. Whereas with creators, they want relationships. They want trust. That's number one. Because in business, if I fuck over a business, they're just going to, 9 times out of 10, they're either going to sue you, eat the loss and never do business with you again, or that's really it. Those are their two options.
Most of the time, they'll probably, if it's the amount of money we're talking about, they're probably just going to walk away and never do business again.
And a lot of the businesses that I work with, that I'm doing active contracts with right now, have said, look, these are the deliverables we're asking for, but I know that they're a lot, and if somebody doesn't deliver on them, our lawyer costs $600 an hour. And I will get up to that number that we're advancing them really fast. So it does not make sense for me to go after them. That being said, let's just try to work in good faith. So when you really build relationships with companies, it becomes a lot of trust. But out on the outset, when you're initializing a relationship with a company, it's purely numbers.
So how would you approach a creator that you wanted to work with, that you're a fan of their work, or you think they have a great audience, whatever reason you want to work with this person, but you don't know them? Where do you start?
Well, first and foremost, money talks, right? So one of the things that I like to tell them is, here's what I do.
Do you just let's talk about how you actually reach out to them. I want to just break this all down.
It's not special. I go to their YouTube. I make sure that they know I'm not a robot. I get the email. I email them.
So you just go on the channel's about page. There's a thing that says for business inquiries. Click here. You just start there.
Yeah, I'm not special. And it's different now because now I have relationships with other agencies. I had 2 different phone calls today that agencies will open up their roster to you when you become a player, and they see, okay, cool, you've placed how much this year? You have some talents that are big. You're like we talked about, pre-qualification. They see that I have a roster of people that they either respect, they like their content, or they just see big numbers.
Yeah.
And they go, okay, cool, you're legit. Here's my talent deck. Feel free to shop it. I'll split commissions with you. So it becomes easier over time where you don't have to do that anymore.
But what I like about what you said about the business inquiry email is that it can be very intimidating when you're starting at zero.
Totally.
To feel like, oh my God, this person's never going to read this email. They're never going to read this DM. They'll never reply to me, but they might. And maybe 7 out of 10 of them won't reply to you, but 3 will. Yeah. And now you've got something to work with.
Well, and even with my roster, even with the I have a sheet of all the jobs I've done that some of them I'll show them that, and I usually don't just because it's cheesy, but there's one guy I really, really, really wanted. And I was like, look, he said to me, cool, tell me more, show me proof. And I was just like, okay, like, fine, game on, motherfucker.
To say, but okay.
Yes, right? But I was like, all right, cool, like, challenge accepted. Yeah. So I sent him like my creator list. I sent him every job I completed this year so far, and I keep a list of, you know, the name, what the jobs were, how much it is, the split, and I shared it with him. And I was like, look, I don't share this with anybody, but I really want to work with you, and here's full transparency. Here's the power I have this year. Like, you know, we've done X amount of dollars this year. With you, I think I could definitely get you over X. Like, you know, in trying to help them understand what I can do for them and why I'm a better fit for them than somebody else, because I truly care about the people. I don't work with anyone that I don't want to work with. That's straight up. Like, people email me all the time now because they see either my website or they see my email on somebody else. Right, but they see my email on someone's, you know, thing, like for business inquiries, contact this, and they come to my website. Oh, you're working with these people? Oh, cool. And then they email me and say, hey, some guy from TMZ emailed me last night, and he was like, hey, I work for TMZ, but like I'm really trying to get, you know, someone to help me manage my business and and he only has like 15,000 followers on his Instagram, and I've gotten to the point with my business where I'm not working with anybody now that's under like 700,000 subs, you know, and like,
well, why do you work with me though?
Because I want to, right? And because I truly, well, there's like a lot of reasons, right? One is I want to.
And my point is, like, I'm not trying to blow myself up here. I just want to understand, again, if you're one of these people who's like, well, shit, I'm not big enough. How do I get somebody like Tony to work with me, even though I'm not one of the big dogs? Because it's easy once you're one of the big dogs, right? Everyone will take your phone call then.
Of course.
But how do you get to be one of those people?
I don't know. And that's part of what I've gotten good at is seeing, I can see a year in the future with a lot of these YouTube things, because it's trends. It's all algorithms, right? And sometimes the algorithm favors you and sometimes it doesn't. But I've gotten really good at saying, this is just going to blow up. And I've been right on the last, like, 4 people I've taken on at a young age when their channel is sub 200,000 subscribers. They've been, one of them is over 500 now, the other one's over 1 million, and the other 2 have grown probably 3 or 4 times. And that's in a span of less than 6 months. So you kind of just get good at being like, okay, this is, right now it's not much for me. Yeah. But in 6 months, I'm gonna have this person's trust. We're gonna have done a lot of business together, and we're gonna be able to grow together. So for someone like you, it just makes sense because I love the content. Like, I know you're a good dude because we have mutual friends. But the biggest thing was, I want to work with you. I'm proud when people see your channel on my roster, not because of the bolstering numbers and being like, oh, well, he's the biggest creator in the world. Yeah. That's not the point. I'll put your content up against a lot of other people's that have a lot higher numbers.
So it's kind of like labels will sign a big band and a cred band. They know the cred band is never going to, you know, make them rich, but they want that band on the roster because of what it says about.
Yeah, that's actually a really way to describe it. Yes, absolutely.
So I'm the cred band that you lose money on.
No, well, that's the thing too. Is once we started working, I realized quickly, okay, cool. This dude is not only somebody who provides credibility to my roster because of the content he produces, but he's also working. He's willing to work, and that's a big thing. Is I've had guys. I took on this one dude 2 weeks ago. First email, he hit me right away. Got me right back to me. Yeah, cool. Let's get some work done. Sweet. 2 weeks later, I had $20,000 worth of ads for him, and he ghosted me. So I had 20 grand sitting on the table, and I had to
just call the brand back and say, I guess it's not going to happen.
Yeah. And that sucks.
And you look like an asshole.
Yes, because brands are looking for fast yes, fast no.
Right.
And if I can't provide them with, hey, cool, you know, I just talked to him, he's out. Sorry, man. I'm like, I keep these guys hanging, waiting, and in the meantime, they could be closing deals with other people and freeing up the budget.
You can make an excuse or tell them why, but at the end of the day, they don't give a shit.
Well, and that's why the roster changes so fast, because over my 2 years of doing this now, I've probably represented more than 70 people. And right now the roster is probably closer to 35, 40. I don't know the exact number because, like I said, it changes. Yeah. But that's why it changes, because if I take somebody on and they say, yeah, let's get to work, and then immediately they start ghosting me, or they aren't, I'm not saying they have to take everything.
Yeah.
Some of the biggest guys I work with turn down as much as they accept. Some of that is by sheer volume. Yeah. They just can't accept all the jobs, or they don't want to. But the point is, if you're just straight up ghosting me or won't take anything, I don't have any incentive to work with you.
Yeah.
Like, what good is it to have you on the list if all I can do is say you're on it? It doesn't matter, because someday someone's going to come up and ask. They're going to pull your card.
You're like, well, yeah.
Exactly. And then I'm like, well, they don't really tour anymore. You know, like it's one of those situations where I'm.
And they're like, oh, so you're full of shit. Your credibility is instantly blown.
Yes. And so I'm having to explain to them why this person's on the list that they want, but why they can't get them. It doesn't do me any good. Or the creator.
Yeah, then they're just like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
So let's talk about some of the specifics as far as how these things work. So for a creator, I know there's a few different ways that creators get paid. What do those deals look like? So if, you know, I'll just make a generic company. If it's, you know, Acme Widgets Company, if I say this video is sponsored by Acme Widgets Company, use promo code Mckenty at acmewidgets.com, how does that deal work? How do I get paid?
Cool. Well, so the first thing is the negotiation or the outreach. So somebody has to come to somebody with an idea. And a lot of the times it's me coming to them with an idea, but a lot of times it's them coming to me. And as you know, because you forward me a lot of those emails. So somebody will come to me or you or whoever and say, hey, I want to promote Acme Widgets. I love Finn's channel. I think his audience would resonate with what I'm trying to sell. And I say, great, cool. Here's what we're offering for this much time, this much time, this much time. You know, we operate on a slight sliding scale so that they have options. If they want to do a whole video, sick. If they want to just do part of a video, rad. If they want to do a 10-second bumper intro, cool.
So you just give them a menu rather than saying, well, what do you want? And they'll go, I don't know. What do you got?
It depends. Sometimes I let them drive the conversation, but that's really nuanced sales tactics that aren't sexy for the purpose of the video. But
I like giving people a menu that even if they don't want anything on it, they go, oh, I don't want any of those things, but I do want this.
Sure.
Cool. Now we've moved the ball forward.
Exactly. And the conversation is always open. Just because, and that's sometimes why I let them drive the conversation, because I want to leave it open-ended and be like, we can work outside this price. This is just where we're starting. We can also work outside these timelines. So it's not stringent for them. They don't have to do what this looks like.
But so the deals, is it like I get a flat fee? Do I get something based on views or based on clicks to the link? Or
So
what's the most common ways that works?
So all of those things are possible. We have one thing called what's called CPI, cost per impression. We have or cost per install, and we have CPM, which is cost per melee, but it's cost per 1,000 views basically. So every 1,000 views they pay you $10. So let's say, you know, they're at home watching the video. Okay, 1,000, there's $10. Okay, 2,000 views, $10 more.
And is $10 a number you just pulled out of your ass, or
yes? $10 is, it's a low to middle tier CPM. A lot of guys won't bite on a $10 CPM unless they know they're going to get 1 million views, you know, because then it's, oh cool, quick 10 grand, that's easy. And then some brands will just pay a flat fee. Some brands will try to get you in on commission deals, like for every one of these I sell, I'll kick you back 5% on the sale. And a lot of creators are uninterested heavily in a lot of those. The most common thing that I do, really the only thing I do, for two reasons. One, it's better for the creator, and two, it's less for me to keep track of. If I'm trying to keep track of cost per install, it's like I have to like, okay, cool, can you export your sheets? And I need to make sure every month that the installs came through, yada yada, and reference that with my bank. I don't want to do that. So it's flat fees or CPMs over a certain amount of time. So they'll say, we'll give you 3 weeks. At the end of the 3 weeks, we're going to come back and we're going to count up the views, and we'll pay you out based on that number. Or here's flat, $5,000.
So we just had one of those where I think it was like however many views I got in 3 weeks, and you just sent me a screenshot of where the views are at. You're like, hey, I'm going to invoice them right now for this much.
Yes.
And I was like, sweet. So let's talk about that part of it, collecting the money. So the money, at least with us, the money goes to me directly, and then I pay you. But if there's if the money needs to be collected, I have you do it. So like, for example, if it's like, hey, I thought they were going to pay me on the 2nd, it's the 5th, what's going on? You chase that down. Right,
because I'm typically the one that negotiates those contracts in the first place, and it's part of why you pay me. I deal with your books, I invoice for you, I handle all that nonsense dealing with brands that sucks.
Which is great, because I hate doing that stuff. I've done it a lot in previous jobs. I hate it.
I hate it too.
That's not why I do YouTube. I don't do YouTube because I want to fucking invoice people.
Yeah, I hate it too, but it's part of the job, right? It's part of what I take on instead of trying to build a YouTube career from scratch. You know, so I can be in the space and I have to.
And I'm probably somewhat unique in that I can do that stuff myself, and I have done it a lot. Most creators don't really know how purchase orders work, shit like that.
Yeah, it can be scary to invoice a company. They say, send me an invoice. What?
Yeah.
Voicemail?
How?
yeah. And then they Google ask you how to do an invoice. But yeah, I think it's very simple. I know ahead of time how much we're going to charge them. I know ahead, or I don't, and then I just do the math. But the point is, I send them an invoice. I collect the banking information from you or wherever we want it to go. and then they send it. It's really not rocket science. If anybody can look up. I use Google Sheets. They have an invoice
so
template.
I used to make invoices too.
Yeah, it's great. You don't need like a special software to make invoices. All of my invoices are done through Google Sheets, and I put my logo on there, so it looks official.
Companies don't give a shit what your invoice looks like.
No, no way.
So let's talk about a common scenario in all lines of business, but I think especially with creative stuff, when they say they're going to pay you and they don't. Like, how do you go about collecting? How do you chase the money down?
That can be really tough.
I don't mean the creator, I mean the brand.
Yeah, no, it's tough. Luckily, from a brand side, that hasn't happened yet. Mainly because I work with brands that I know have credibility. Because like I said, it's pre-qualified by me having seen them do something. If it's a new brand, sometimes we'll ask them to pay up front or pay half up front. And then when we send them the finished product, before it's uploaded, I'll say, hey, here's a video, cool. We need that second half of payment before it goes live. And they say, go ahead and push it live. No, I'm sorry. Right. The deal is you send us the rest, then it goes live.
So you got to be the bad guy.
Of course, and that's one of the key reasons why people pay me to do it, is because it's really hard for the creator to be the bad guy. One, because they don't want to, they don't have the mental space for it, but also because maybe they don't know how. A lot of them are just like, it's just money, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, fuck that. It's your money and you worked for it. I'm going to get it. Short of going to their business and knocking on their door, with some businesses I can because they're local, most of them are not. Most of these people are in other countries. I don't have the ability to do that. But sometimes it's as easy as going over their head. If that direct rep won't pay you. Like I had one company that didn't get the views they wanted on a video that they paid a flat fee for. And they were like, well, the performance was really bad.
That's not how this works.
That's what I said. I said, unfortunately, I'm not your marketing team. It's not my job to tell you how to spend your money or how it will perform. It's my job to tell you what we have available to you, and it's your job to see whether or not there's value in it for your company. That's why you're in marketing. I'm not. I'm in advertising and talent management.
This is what we agreed on, so pay me.
Right. So that one, unfortunately, I mean, at the risk of sounding like an asshole, simple threats of litigation can handle a lot of problems like that. Just saying, hey, look, I forward this to my lawyer. He'll be contacting you tomorrow. If you'd like, I can put the halt on that. Yep. But, as it stands right now, we're pursuing litigation against you because you owe us money that you promised us. And everything's in writing. Yeah. It's pretty simple once you copy paste. Fucking motorcycles. It's pretty simple once you copy and paste what they said back to them and say, here's where we agreed to it. And a lot of times they'll try to throw someone under the bus. So that guy doesn't work here anymore. Sorry, he worked for you when we agreed to it. So he's an extension of your company. Most companies understand that there is a risk involved with this. Some companies, the hardest time that I have is when it's a company's first time doing it. And they're like, okay, well, we're really trusting you. And I always try to pre-qualify and say, look, I'm not your marketing guy. I can't tell you that this is going to work. That's not my job. My job is to secure branding opportunities for creators. If it doesn't work out for you, then I'm sorry, but don't do business with us again, or do business with a different channel. But I don't make any promises for performance, which is sometimes why I like a CPM deal, because they're paying on the views. If the video got 1,000 views, they go, performance sucked. Here's $10,
right?
Or $25.
But they're not,
But they don't lose anything.
Right.
You lose $25. Okay, cool.
There's always a chance to do business with them in the future.
Exactly. So CPM deals are kind of fun because of that. They don't put either.
I actually kind of like that, like as a creator, because I feel less pressure that way.
Totally.
Like I'm like, I don't have to put this. Like I don't necessarily have to put this on my best video ever, because the downside for them is nothing.
Right, and I like that because it also pushes the creator, incentivizes the creator to put it on a video that will perform. Right. Because they're earning more.
That too,
and we talked about that
go either way.
With the current deal.
Yeah.
You were saying, should I put it on death metal or video game? And I was like, well, video games, obviously. And the death metal one outperformed. And that happens, right? Sometimes that's what it is. But like I said, I'm not in marketing.
Right.
I can't tell the future. Even when we try to do the best intentions, we get it wrong.
Right.
So I'm for sure not going to be able to tell a company what's in their best interest. I don't know.
Okay, well, let's talk about what is maybe the most controversial part of all this, which is why creators do this. Because, we've all heard people complain about, I just wanted to watch the video. I don't want to sit through another fucking ad for X. And you're the guy to blame for that.
Yeah.
And I'm the one to blame for putting them in my videos. So let's talk about why that happens. I'll tell you from my side of it, the reason why is because I don't want to depend on Google and YouTube's ad system for my income. Yeah. Because they can and do change the rules for that all the time. And I'm completely at their mercy. For example, copyright claims or videos get demonetized because nobody knows why. You see videos about Legos getting demonetized or whatever, right? All these kind of reasons that are completely outside our control that could take away my ability to make money off this thing that I put a lot of time into. So I love to de-risk that by having a deal for, whatever X amount of dollars, so that even if I get demonetized, I'm like, okay, well, that sucks, but at least I got some money from this.
Totally. Well, that's the beauty of this, and that's why I got into this, was mainly to help people continue to create. I saw a void in the market, and I was like, there's not a lot of people doing this. I could do this and make some good money, and I am. But the most important reason why I do this is because it helps people create. Helps people like you be able to continue to talk about the thing you like to talk about, which is music. And the moment you show a clip, the video's worthless to you. So how can I continue to help people? And I'm helping myself because I like the content.
Sure.
So I want to keep watching it, and I need to make sure that you're paid. So that's why I work with creators I like mostly, because I'm like, how do I keep this person creating? I got to help them earn. And it's such a ass backwards way of thinking that because you're doing something that they're consuming for free, you shouldn't be paid for it. What the fuck is that? That's criminal. Like that is the most immature, childish thing that I ever hear anyone say, is like, oh, look, I'll sell out, like taking all the ad money, blah, blah, blah. Like, first of all, you don't know the first thing about how hard it is to be a music creator, or really any creator, because like you said, Nintendo was demonetizing everyone who used anything Nintendo. That's so many games. Are you kidding? Like,
sure, there are people we've all heard these stories about people getting their entire channel demonetized, and it totally happens. Well,
that's the thing with Jared. That's what I really like, is that he knows if a video has ad dollars on it.
We're talking about Jared Dines, who does guitar stuff, basically.
Right. When he does a video that has money coming in on it, he does whatever he wants. He's truly free to create because he has income.
They claim it? Cool.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
Okay.
That's exactly the mentality is, there's money on this video anyway. I don't give a shit. The AdSense is pennies compared to what the brand's paying me to do the read.
I mean, in a perfect world, I would turn off ads on my videos altogether. Yeah. And if I could make the same amount of money through brand deals and Patreon, I would love to turn off ads.
Well, the beauty of this too is you get to choose who you work with. The ads that you guys see pre-roll on YouTube, Finn doesn't get to choose those.
I don't even know what they are.
The brands don't even get to choose them. They just say, this is what our demo is. YouTube goes, okay, that matches punk rock NBA. Cool. We'll throw your video for fuck punk music on.
Well, like we always see ads on my channel for Wharton's MBA program because they bought the term MBA.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's the other thing is
it's actually I kind of like, because that's
cool. Yeah. But it's not. That's hardly targeting.
It's not what they wanted.
Right. Totally. And this way, the brand gets what they want. The creator gets what they want. If you're unhappy with it, here's an industry secret for you. Most ads are 30 seconds to a minute. So skip ahead 3 times, and you're done. How hard is that for you? The brand doesn't know the difference.
Phone, just tap that forward arrow twice.
Absolutely. It's so ridiculous to complain about this stuff. If you truly give a shit about any of the creators you're watching, you should embrace the fact that they have ads on their channel. You're not paying to watch YouTube. And if you're watching YouTube Red, then you're probably not getting very many ads anyway. But truly, I care about what I'm watching on YouTube, unless it's just drivel. And even if it is, I'm like, all right, well, I don't care enough. I'll move along. But if I'm watching a channel for somebody I like, I sit through the ad. Like legitimately, because I want to see what the product is, and if I'm into it, I might even click the link just to show that there's action on the link. And if I really like it and I really like the channel, I'll buy it. Or if it's a video game, like a mobile game that's free to download that fucker, and then delete it. Like,
right? Because they're going to get paid on the install, probably.
Exactly. Truly, or they're getting paid a flat, and all the company wants to see is a turnover.
Yeah. To me, it's the same as like buying band merch or a CD or something like that. Like, I went to go see this band Sanction a while ago. It's like kind of sick. Yeah, like hardcore band.
Yeah.
And I bought one of their long sleeves, which I don't really wear that often because I don't really like it that much. But I bought it because they're the lowest band on the bill.
Yeah.
And I know that they're getting paid less than anybody, and they need merch money more than anybody else on that bill. So I bought the shirt. And to me, like, watching ads is the same thing. Like, especially when it's like individual creators. It's one thing if it's like IGN or something like that.
Right.
But like when we're talking about individuals, we're literally making this stuff in our bedroom. To me, it's exactly the same as a band. And I think it's interesting that people are so gung-ho about supporting bands.
Yeah.
And I don't really hear the same attitude when it comes to like creators of other kinds.
Right. Well, the truth of the matter is, as far as earning goes, most of the people that you watch on YouTube are probably not making their living from YouTube.
Right.
Finn is doing this as a hobby.
Right.
I think the AdSense that you probably make on it is probably just funny money. It might pay for a couple of your bills.
But yeah.
Okay, well, maybe it covers your car payment and a couple, like your electric bill and some other things. I don't think it's paying your rent. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm wrong. But that's not to disparage.
But just barely.
Right, but that's not to disparage what you're doing. My point is, you have to work so fucking hard.
But that's only very recently. Like, I worked on this for over a year.
Right, and that's the other thing.
Before I got to the point where it's like, oh, now it actually is kind of paying my rent.
Right. That's the other thing I tell people is like
hundreds, probably thousands of hours before that.
I never minimize. That's a big thing with me with my business models. I never minimize how much the creators had to do for me to be able to make that platform sellable.
So yeah, now I get $1,000 for reading something for 45 seconds. Yeah. But I got paid $0 for a year and 4 months or whatever.
I have people that are at the 100,000 mark still that are doing them for $400 or $500 because their view rate's not as high as yours.
Right.
That's really what counts, is what they assume will be seen as far as in terms of number of views on the video. But man, I don't know. It bothers me. That's truly one thing that bothers me, not only because it's my business. There's no shortage of channels for me to work with. And creators will always want money more than they want the approval of one asshole in the comments.
And by the way, let me tell you, anybody out there who is saying that if they were in the creator's shoes, they would say no to these deals, you're wrong. You would say yes to them. And
you're welcome to.
Yeah, look, if you want, great. But I'm just saying, like, if somebody came to you and said, hey, dude, I'll give you $600 to just say X into your phone, you're like, sweet.
Yeah.
Of course you're going to do it.
It's I guess if this is my final thought, great. But if not, whatever. The people who I always see complain the most about advertisements are the people who are broke. People who are jealous, people who envy other creators that get ads. And a lot of times if you look in the comment section, you see somebody, oh, a fucking ad, that's not punk rock, blah, blah, blah. You click on their channel. I guarantee you it's some fucking loser who's mad about the fact that he can't get those advertisements because his channel's not popping. That's what it is. It's jealousy. If you're truly, truly about creating a culture where people succeed, then there's no room for envy. There's no room for jealousy. You can get there too. That's the beauty of this whole system, is if you have good ideas, if you have good content, if you can speak well, and you've worked hard to cultivate addiction and like a command presence that people want to watch, you will get these opportunities. And if you're at that point where Finn's at, email me. Let's work. You can get these opportunities. They're not exclusive to just you. Brands will spend money where there is an audience that will see it and will receive it properly. But look, you're wasting your time if you're that one guy in the comments complaining about a Nike hat, or somebody taking a couple $100 extra a month so that they can go on a vacation with their fucking wife or their kids or their family or whatever. It's not like it's a lot of money. Like, I think the most we've done in a month is like $3,000 in ads.
Right.
And that's good. That's awesome. That's maybe a little bit of an overshare, but there you have it. And that was our best month so far. And that's not like life-changing money by any means. It can get you out of maybe a hole. Yeah. It could put you ahead on some bills, but it's not. We're not ending world hunger with the amount of money that you're accepting on these ads. It's just a way for you to subsidize content so you can continue doing what you love, and the people that claim to love you can continue to watch it. And if they don't, you know where the unsub button is.
Well, last thing I would like to ask for you is maybe some advice for everybody watching at home. So if somebody is a creator of any kind, we'll say YouTube, but I think probably what I'm going to ask would apply to anybody who's, podcast, Instagram, whatever.
It does, yeah.
If they want to monetize their content through brand deals in the either now or in the future when they get bigger, like, what is the one piece of advice you would give to a creator that wants to get brand deals at some point?
I think the thing that I learned two really important things in this business is that for every 100 emails you send out, one of them might get back to you. And even then, you might have a 10% conversion. So if you send 1,000 emails, you might get, 10 of them. I don't know. I forgot my number already. But if you send a lot of
emails, you're going to get a handful of deals.
Right. You might get, if you send 1,000 emails, you might get 100 of them to hit you back, and 10 of those might buy. It truly is a number of, or a game of averages. It's all about beating feet. It's the old school way of doing shit.
Yep.
Get on the fucking phone, get on your email, contact as many people as you can, and give them a reason to buy something from you. Don't just go to them and say, hey, look, I want you to buy something because I have a channel. Everybody has a channel. Why is your channel better than somebody else's? Why is it relevant? For your channel specifically, I liked it because it's music relative, but it also comes from a perspective of education is cool, business is cool, being your own boss is really, really cool. And brands resonate with that because those are the people that typically buy stuff, is people who have the money to buy it, and people who focus their lives on
improve themselves.
Yeah. Products to improve yourself.
Driven.
Yeah, and so that was number one. Was there's not a secret. There's not a secret formula. It's all about spending as much time as you can convincing people why you have a product worth
putting in the work,
worth putting their ad on. Yeah, put the work in, do your time, take your at-bats. And the second thing is, cooperation is insane. When you're in a service-based industry, it's all about cooperation over competition. When I was in a hard goods based industry or product based industry where I had a thing I was selling, it's all about competition. I'm better than you. This is why my product's better than yours. And I think my agency's better than a lot of other ones, but I don't tell anybody else that. I want to work with your agency because you have 40 creators that I don't get access to, but I have people that will come to me and spend as much money as I can get. If I can get them in front of 80 creators they want, they'll buy every single one, and I can do $1 million deal. It doesn't happen that often, but sometimes it will. So that's why it's cooperative. And same thing with brands. They want access to other creators that they don't know. So be cooperative with other people. If you see one of your friends got an ad, hey man, can I get your contact at blank? Or hey, can I get your agent's number? Or how did you land that deal? And talk with people, and just be a good dude. But if they're like, no, you're the asshole that was in my comments telling me that I was selling out, go fuck yourself.
Right.
But yeah, I think
people do remember that stuff.
I'll never forget shit like that. I don't ever forget people who were too good for me at one point, and like,
man, there's a no bigger turnoff than that, is there?
No,
somebody that big timed you at one point, you're like, I will do everything I can and never do business with that person if I can.
Yeah, mainly because of the way it reflects on me. But I guess those are the key takeaways. Is this is not outside of your grasp. Anyone can do this, and it's not just YouTube. Like you were saying, podcasts. If you have a podcast that's getting views, please email me because I want to work with you. I have a ton of people who want to do podcast format that I can't place. If you have a really large Instagram following or you have a huge Facebook page that's popping off, let's work. If you have a platform that's able to be monetized, we can help you find people to pay to get their product in front of it. Because I'll tell you what, it beats.
And if he's not a fit, find every other agent you can and go down the list and pitch every single one of them.
Absolutely.
Somebody will eventually say yes.
I'm not the only one out there. Yeah, and there are agents that are newer than me, that are probably hungrier than me to work with people who don't have quite a huge following. And if you want to start an agency and you want to work with people that I won't, hit me up. I'll team up with you. I'll send you all the people that I won't work with. Yeah, here's a guy that's got 15,000 Instagram followers. Work it, kid. Because it truly is all about cooperation in this industry. Because someday you're going to get PewDiePie's number, and I'm going to be able to sell deals on his channel through you. It really is all about cooperation and making sure that everybody has a level of mutual trust and a mutual appreciation.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for kind of unpacking all of this for everybody. I guess, what is the best way for people to get in touch with you if they do want to pitch you on something?
My email is tony@prettygoodagents. My website is prettygoodagents.com. And I'm on social media @SkettyBag.
Cool.
I feel like that's like I had this professional package, and then and then just SkettyBag. Yeah, I thought about it, but I probably won't.
Cool. Well, there you go. Now you know almost everything there is to know about brand deals.